Great.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
All right, I want to start off right away with 5 volunteers. I'm looking for ninth grade boys who are competitive by nature. Maybe you play sports. So by a show of hands, if you're in ninth grade, or even if you're in 8th grade, boys who play sports. By the way, it's always good to volunteer because I bring things like my favorite candy, Sour Smoochy Lips from the Chocolate Ox in Nisswa, Minnesota. By the way, I've never seen them anywhere else. I ordered them on Amazon one time, not the real deal. These are the real deal. So I see 3 hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of you in the back. Those 5 come up here right away. And then I want one girl, maybe one 7th grade or 8th grade girl who is not intimidated to take on these guys. Okay, so I see right on the edge here in the purple shirt, come on up. You guys, we need one more guy right there. You guys stand over there and just make a circle. And what's your name? Maya. Maya, what grade are you in and where do you go to school? 7th in Legacy. Is that in Minneapolis?
Close.
Okay, close to Minneapolis. So Maya, I'm going to give you a job. Those guys are standing in a circle. I'm going to give you 10 seconds on the clock. And all I want you to try to do is to get in their circle. Okay? Don't hurt them. Don't hurt yourself. But it's okay to be a little bit rough because those are really strong guys, we can tell, right? And you guys all have a job to do. You're either going to cheer for the boys or you're going to cheer for Maya. Everyone ready? On your mark, 10 seconds. Get set, go! All right, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. I don't know who won. I do know that Maya, you get Sour Smoochy Lips because that was a big challenge and risk to come up here. You guys get a round of applause. Okay, go have a seat. Now I know what you're all thinking. You are all thinking, that's the coolest game I've ever seen. I want to take that back to the neighborhood and show everyone how to do it. So let's be reminded, what were the directions? Okay? Maya's job was to get in the middle of the circle. And everyone all together, the boys were supposed to, I heard keep her out. But you know what? In the directions, I never said keep her out. The only thing I said is, guys, walk over here and stand in a circle. And they did. They all had their arms at their sides or behind their back. They had about a foot or two in between each one of them. A lot of times boys don't stand that close together. It's not until I said, Maya, I want to see if you can get in their circle, that their instincts kicked in. They locked arms and they went from side to side like this. Now, if I would have said, guys, and make room for her, they're nice guys, I'm sure it would have been no problem. To me, that game is a little social science experiment. Doesn't matter if it's boys, if it's girls, junior high, senior high, little kids, adults. Every time I've ever done it, that's what happens. And all we're missing is one intentional step of saying, please include Maya. Because it's something that doesn't happen naturally, I guess, without intentionality. So that opens this week, you guys. I want you to know that every single aspect of camp has been designed with intentionality. Your parents making the sacrifice for you to be here, your cabin counselors devoting their summer to this. They've already been here for weeks, training, preparing, getting the camp ready for you. The schedule's intentional. Our times in chapel are intentional. When you leave here and you go to your small groups, that might even be some of the richest time while you're at camp. And so I want you to approach camp with the same intentionality. So, a little refresher, I was introduced. Do you remember my name? You're right. Tom. My first time going to camp was actually in junior high. I was super excited because I got to ride the bus sitting next to Emily. And I had a crush on Emily. And it was a 3-hour drive, and I felt like that was the best decision of my life to go to summer camp. But things quickly changed for me once camp started. On the first night, I was in Oak Lodge, and Oak Lodge had a concrete floor like your garage, and I was on the second-story bunk, and back then we didn't have railings on the bunks. And I tossed and turned, and in the middle of the night, I rolled out of bed, but don't worry, the concrete broke my fall, broke my nose. The guys in my cabin thought it was funny to put tape around and chalk outline like it was a crime scene. There was so much blood. To this day, you can come up and meet me, and you can see my nose is still crooked, and I can't breathe through my nose. So that was my first night at camp. I couldn't go home because my parents were on a cruise. So I spent the rest of the week in the nurse's room. I trust that you will have a better first night at camp, and I know they've made improvements in the rooms since then. A little bit more about me. I don't have any kids of my own, but every single Friday, I take out Hudson Budson, 5 years old. He's one of my friend's kids, and ever since COVID started, I helped out by saying, hey, I work from home, I've got a lot of flexibility. How about if I take Hudson out for 6 hours of nonstop fun every Friday? And I've done that now for 3 or 4 years. And I take Hudson to nice, fancy restaurants, and I take him to arcades, and the pinball place, and bike ramps, and swimming, and jungle gyms, and movies, and everything you could think of, especially the candy store. Funny thing, he doesn't know that you can actually buy candy. So I always buy candy, leave with a bag. He gets a sample, and that's all he knows the candy store to be. Something different about me, this past year, I did something I've never done before, and it actually got my mind so in this zone to be with you guys. I had foreign exchange kids. So on the left is Adam. Adam came from Hungary. Hungary is more stoic, more serious. They do what they're told. So my impression of Adam, I'd say something like, hey, do you want ice cream tonight? It's not necessary. He was always so serious with me. In the middle is Ricardo from Italy. And Ricardo was my rowdy one. He was lively. No! I heard that all day long. No! Like about 30 times a day. And then he would eventually come around. I would get calls from him at school because I told them, you guys, if you ever get in trouble, my job is to help. You can call me. So here's how it goes. Hello? Yeah, Tom, I am at school. I make big fight with teacher. I need you to come. So I would go to the school. He'd make big fight with teacher. But I had so much fun with Ricardo. And when he went home at the semester break, the guy all the way on the right, Thomas came. And Thomas came from Brazil. And we worked on English pronunciation, that EDs are not spoken out loud. But no matter how much we worked on it, he never got it. So, Tom, I'm making smashed potatoes. And I try it, but it's all smoke. And so he was so fun. You guys, they went home 2 weeks ago, and I literally cried every day for 5 days. I did not expect that to happen. But after they lived in my house for 10 months, I missed them so much. So I'll tell some funny stories about them this week. You might even hear from one in a video. But to give you a glimpse at my life, check out A Normal Friday, Tom with Hudson Budson. And in this case, it was a very special day because some big kids came along.
Right behind it, Sully has stolen the mascot to impress the Roar Omega Roars, the coolest, scariest monster on campus. Sully and Mike chased the mascot all over the campus. Mike caught it, but Sully got the credit. The Roars invited Sully to join their group, but not Mike. You're just not in the same league with me, Sully told Mike. I'm gonna scare circus around you this year, Mike.
You can see why I had so much fun and why I missed those guys already. But that's enough about me. I want to find out about you. So in a moment, I'm going to give you 4 choices. And I'd like to know which one of these pretend name tags you might identify with the most. But let me describe them to you first. The first one, camper. That means no one had to twist your arm. You're on the waiting list before they even open registration. You hear camp and you beg your parents to sign you up. You just love everything about the exciting things that this place offers, the friends that you make, and you're all in. Maybe you've been coming here your whole life. You might be a camper. And if that's you, your imaginary name tag for this exercise would be camper. But that might not be you. Maybe it was a different experience getting here today. So another imaginary name tag, you might be socializer. To go, hey, I don't mind being here, but I really came because my friend dragged me along. I really came because I'm visiting my grandparents in town. I really came because I just want to hang out with my friends. That's okay. So you might be socializer if that is what got you here. Third choice, vacationer. Now this is different than what you might think. This isn't vacationer like, woo, resort. This is, well, it's not so much that I want to be here. I'd just rather be here than there. So there is home, mowing the lawn. There's home, babysitting your little sister. There's home, just not getting along with your parents. There is summer school. I don't know what there is. There is not here, but here is better than there. And if that's you, you're a vacationer. And finally, prisoner. Prisoner, imaginary name tag, would be, I didn't know I was coming here. My parents said get in the car, we're going to Disney, and here we are. And we had a big fight on the way. Maybe you came here against your will. Maybe you begged and pleaded that the plans change and it just couldn't happen. Maybe like me, your parents are on a cruise, you got nowhere else to go. That's okay. So take 30 seconds and introduce yourself to someone next to you with your imaginary name tag. Say which one sounds like you the most. There's no right answer. Go. 10 seconds. Okay, I've got a secret to tell you. I bet in a room this size with this many people, I bet there's groups of people that would point to every one of those name tags. I bet not everyone's here for the same reason. But that's okay. Because from this moment forward, we all have a chance at a fresh start. We all have a chance to kind of level set the expectation. And I want you guys to know what you can expect this week from me when we're here in chapel. I'm going to talk to you like young adults. I actually work mostly with high school kids like Ricardo and Adam and Thomas. So just by nature, I'm going to talk up to you a little bit. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to reason with you, maybe the way a lawyer would make his case in court. I'm going to expect the best from you. Just like right now, I see every eye. I can tell when I have every ear. And we're going to have intentionality in this space, even if your primary reason for coming wasn't all in about camp. I think when you approach camp intentionally, you might be surprised at the outcome. And a special word to prisoners, if you don't want to be here. You guys, I work maybe the hardest for you because I believe that if you'll put your part in, that you're going to get a huge return and have a great time. Here's another funny thing about me is I make friends with every age you could imagine, from the youngest, my little 5-year-old friend, to One of those people in that picture is 91 years old. I'll talk about them a little bit later. I want to give you guys 3 tips how to have the best week at camp that you can possibly have. The first one, take a risk. Take a risk means, hey, be willing to make a new friend. And maybe friends come in different shapes and sizes. Maybe the friend is 2 years older or 1 year younger than you. Maybe the friend's from a different state or a different town. Maybe you play football and the friend doesn't. Maybe you're a great singer and the one next to you can't sing on key. But you know what? Kind of like my picture that was out of order, you could be surprised at the different packages that friends come in if you're open to this. On the left, that little short lady, that's Betty, who's 91. Betty was actually my 6th grade teacher. And then decades later, I was walking around Lake Harriet in Minneapolis, and my friend said, look at that cute little old lady over there on rollerblades. And I looked and I went, I know her. And I yelled her name and she came over and gave me a hug, and I took a risk. I said, you probably don't remember me, but you're my teacher. I would love so much to take you out to lunch. And we made plans and we went out to lunch and we had such a good time that we got together every week for many, many years from that point on. On the top right, that's Nancy. She was my gym teacher. And about 6 years ago, I bumped into her out in town. Said, you probably don't remember me because I was this back then and now I'm this, and I was this back then and now I'm... And so I said, can I take you out to lunch? And I took a risk. And now Nancy and I, we go play golf every month. And we go out and see movies and we do fun things together. So I encourage you guys to take a risk. Maybe sit by someone different one night. Maybe look with intentionality who's not being included, and it would be so easy. And you might get, in my case, I got a bonus grandma out of it. You might get a bonus friend out of being open-minded. Second tip after take a risk, go with the flow. Go with the flow. So you guys, go with enthusiasm. When you come to chapel, bring your Bibles. When we're worshiping, stand up and worship. Learn the songs, play the games. Be vulnerable in your small group time. Get to know your cabin leader. Follow with obedience. Go all in. If nothing else, try this. Give it the 24-hour challenge. Just go with the flow for 24 hours, starting right now. Be on time, be fully involved, have a good attitude, see how it goes. If it's not going okay in 24 hours, come and talk to me. Talk to your cabin leader. Talk to one of the staff in the back. We'll help with that. We want to know if it's not going well. But it starts with you got to try your part first. Third tip, think about your faith. This week, we literally will build it in the schedule. Time for you to be alone with God. Time for you to be talking with your peers. Time for you to be taught from the Word. You get to walk around hundreds of acres of God's creation and God's beauty. Think about your faith. Take quiet moments of reflection, because you might hear things this week that you've never heard before. You might be challenged in ways you weren't prepared to be challenged. We're going to talk about things in chapel kind of like this.
So I got together with 4 of my friends and one other person and asked them to help me come up with 10 lies the world tells us.
So, like, there's no Santa Claus?
That ruined my life.
Wait, so there is or isn't a Santa Claus?
Are little kids gonna see this?
I know a lot of kids that would just follow their heart.
So, like, there's no right or wrong, and people just do whatever they want.
The human heart is the most deceitful of all things, desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?
If it feels good, it is good.
So, instant gratification.
Like do whatever you want, like right now, YOLO.
Yeah, so, like, live it up now.
So, like, live for today, don't worry about tomorrow.
So I guess the idea is kind of like YOLO, but biblically it's YODO. You only die once. People are destined to die once, and after that, to face judgment.
Oof.
Habits don't stick.
Like, I can stop whenever I want.
Yeah, so people don't think twice about drinking or smoking or even cussing.
But here's the thing. The problem is that the habits you form now stick with you for the rest of your life, may even blow up and become worse as you grow older.
So I know people who are like, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, no one notices me.
This is a big problem, and a lot of kids even end up hurting themselves.
But there's a super helpful and hopeful verse in the Old Testament. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
Some people think life is pointless.
The things in life are just random.
But it's incredible because God uses everything. The good, the bad, everything for a purpose. Nothing's a mistake.
And some people say, loving me means accepting me.
So like if I disagree with you, it means I hate you.
But the truth is, you can disagree with someone and still love them. Jesus did it all the time.
Dude, that's deep.
And of course, there's those kids who say there's no God.
And some people say there's no right God and all religion's bad.
Others say there's no wrong God and every path leads to heaven.
But Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
A lot of kids say, I can follow God tomorrow.
I felt that.
But I'm going to be real honest with you. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Today, we're called to take action, and that's what we should do. I said God really weird. God.
So think about your faith this week. Last tip, you guys, get to know your cabin leader. These are some of the coolest people that you will ever meet in your entire life. They are just a couple of steps ahead of you. They're not that old like me. They're here to make your week absolutely incredible. And you guys, they made huge sacrifices to be here. They could be making 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times as much money working in a factory somewhere, but they want to be here with you, giving you the same kind of experience that maybe they had when they were growing up and in middle school. So be kind, be obedient, be open-minded, knowing that they want to get to know you truly. They're probably going to set up one-to-ones with you. They're going to do some really special things, cabin activities, and I think that you might be surprised at how much you look up to and admire these people in a very, very, very short time. I'm going to go backwards a couple slides. If you've got your Bible, please do open your Bible to 1 Timothy 4:12. So we're about 80% of the back of the Bible on this one. It's a very small chapter. Paul wrote a letter to Timothy. This was about 65 years after Jesus. And Timothy, it's important to know, was a young pastor. And we're going to go to chapter 4, verse 12. In verse 12, this is going to set the tone for our time together, not only in chapel, but everywhere on camp. This is how we look at you, students. Do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in life, in love, in faith, in purity. In speech, life, love, faith, purity. That's our standard this week. That's our standard we're going to hold you to. And we're going to explore God's word on how to do that. I want to close with this. I, believe it or not, am actually shy. I don't mind being up here because with the lights I can't really see you, and I'm back enough that you're not going to poke me or anything. So this is comfortable. I'm not the most outgoing person. So when you see me around camp, just wave and say, hi, Tom, and I would love to talk to you and get to know you, and it won't be awkward or anything like that. So I look forward to meeting you guys and to seeing you. And tonight, I think they're leaving Larry right now for small group time.